Hello friends, today we are going to discuss food chains and food webs. The food chain in an ecosystem is comprised of series of population of the different species which are related through eating and being eaten. Right? Now each population in the food chain comprises a level or step called the trophic level, which is characterized by a particular mode of obtaining food. For example, herbivores comprise one trophic level, carnivores comprise another trophic level, producers or the plants comprise another trophic level. Now, if we go into the details, we find there can be up to 6 trophic levels, though generally most of the authors recognize 4 trophic levels. Now, if we consider 6 trophic levels, the first trophic level is comprised of producers, second trophic level is comprised of herbivores, third trophic level is occupied by the primary carnivores, then the fourth trophic level occupied by the secondary carnivores, fifth trophic level by the tertiary carnivores. You can call them as the top carnivores, right? Then there is the sixth trophic level, which is occupied by detritivores or the decomposers, which are dependent upon feeding upon dead and decaying organic matter. Now, if we minutely observe, there is transfer of nutrients or matter and therefore energy along the trophic levels. And if we see structure of the food chain, what we find, it is a linear sequence and is found to be always straight. But mind it, in an ecosystem there is not just one but several food chains exist together, right? They are occurring simultaneously there, and these are found to be interlinked, right? Another thing is that the food chains of the different ecosystems are also linked, right? So a complete sort of web or net is created within the ecosystem and with the other ecosystems. So in other words, we can say that the food chains are never isolated sequences. Now there are different kinds of food chains. There can be simple food chains, there can be complex food chains, there can be what we call grazing food chains, predatory food chains, detritus food chains, saprophytic food chains. Right. Now this is a summary of the food chain. Here the trophic level has been described, guild has been described, food chain has been described in detail, then the types of the food chains and what is exactly the function of the food chain, that has also been described. This is about the trophic levels. Now there are different types of the food chains, right? And according to Smith and Smith 2009, there are basically 2 types of food chains. One are called the grazing food chains and the other are called the detritus food chains. Grazing food chains can further be divided into 2 types: predatory food chains and the parasitic food chain. But some workers describe parasitic food chains as the subsidiary, accessory or the auxiliary food chain, that will be discussing later on. Now if we see the grazing food chains, right, these start with the what we call the green plants or with the producers, right, and go to the grazers, grazing herbivores, and then to the carnivores or to the parasites. As I have already told you that grazing food chains are of 2 types. They can be predatory or they can be parasitic, right? Ecosystem with such type of food chains are directly dependent upon the influx of the solar radiation, right? So they are dependent upon the producers. So this type of food chain is dependent upon the autotrophic energy, right, that is captured and there is the movement of this captured energy to the herbivores and then to the carnivores or to the parasites. Right? Most of the ecosystem in nature follow this type of food chain, that is the grazing type of food chains. Right? So if we see the food chain, grazing food chain in the water system or the aquatic ecosystem, starts with the phytoplankton, go to the zooplankton, then to the fishes. Similarly, in the terrestrial setup, it starts with the grasses, right, to the rabbits, to the fox. Okay. Then, as far as the detritus food chains are concerned, right, as I already told you that these start from the dead organic matter, right, into microorganisms and then to the organisms feeding on the detritus. So they are called the detritivores. And then their predators are also there, right? So they are not terminating in the uh, what we call the decomposers or the detritivores. They may terminate in the predators. Now, such ecosystems are thus less dependent upon the direct solar energy. So here the autotrophs are not there, right? Rather, organic matter may be coming from the plants, maybe from the animals, their dead bodies, right? That is coming, and that comprises what we call the detritus or the dead organic matter, right? So it is from here that the food chain starts. So these depend chiefly on the influx of the organic matter produced in another system, right? So for example, such type of food chain operate in the decomposing accumulated litter in a temperate forest. So let us now see what is the significance of the food chain. Do you think the food chain is only concerned with providing the food? No, it is more than that. So why we study food chains? That is another, you see, question before you. We study the food chains because this helps in understanding the feeding relationships and the interaction which occur between the organism in any ecosystem, right? They also help us to appreciate the energy flow mechanism and matter circulation in the ecosystem and and helps in understanding the movement of toxic substances in the ecosystem. The study of the food chain also helps us to understand the problem of the biomagnifications. So, what conclusions we draw? So, understanding of the food chain is vital as they explain the intimate relationships which occur in the ecosystem. It also shows us how every living organism is dependent upon other organisms for survival. It also explains the path of the energy flow inside an ecosystem or beyond as ecosystems are connected with each other. So now coming to the other concept, that is food webs or the food nets. The old name is food cycle, that was given by the Charles Elton, right? And later on he referred these food cycles as the food web, right? So he actually drew it from the Charles Darwin writing, right, where it is these were referred as the entangled banks or the web of the life, web of the complex relationships. Now another name for the food web is consumer resource system. Now food webs describe the relationships, link or connection among the species in an ecosystem, but the relationships vary in their importance to energy flow and dynamics of the species population. Right? Some connections are more influential on species population change. So a food web is the natural interconnection of the food chains and is a graphical representation of what eats what in an ecological community. Each food eaten by variety of organism and each organism eats a variety of food. Now this explains everything. That each food is eaten by variety of organism and each organism is feeding upon a variety of food. So as a result, the various food chains they get connected, right? So and a net or a web is created, concerned through food, right? Food is matter and energy. So let us now see the different types of the food webs as per Reckless 2008, which is based upon his studies on the the coast of the Washington, right? Now, according to Robert Payne, proposed three types of the food webs, right, which are based upon the different ways in which species influence one another. One are called the connectedness web, second are the energy flow webs, and then you have the functional webs, right? Connectedness webs, these show feeding relationships among organisms, while the energy flow web show connections quantified as the energy flux, while the functional webs emphasize the influence of populations on growth rates in other populations. So I have already explained, these are the examples. Now what is the significance of the food web? Now minded, if you could recall, food, basically what the food chains are concerned with. Food chains are basically concerned with keeping checks on the sizes of the population of the various species, right? So the population of one trophic level will be keeping check on the population of the trophic level, which is, you see, lower one, right? So as a result, what we find that the populations of the various species remain within the what we call the sporting capacity of the ecosystem, and we refer this as the carrying capacity, right? So population never exceeds the carrying capacity of the ecosystem, right? So if we compare what this food web is concerned with, now food web basically permits the alternative foods, right? Each food is being eaten by a variety of organisms, and each organism is eating variety of foods, right? So some kind of alternatives are there. Now this ensures better chance of survival of the organisms, right? So what are the applications of the food webs? Now food webs are constructed to describe species interactions, right? They can be used to illustrate indirect interaction among the species, right? They also help in studying the bottom up or the top down control of the community structure, right? And they can also be used to reveal different patterns of the energy transfer in terrestrial and aquatic ecosystems, right? So with this I come to the end of the lecture. Thank you very much.